The RPG genre has evolved significantly over the years, opening the door to new experiences and adventures. While games tend to build on the backs of more modern entries, we seldom get random callbacks to earlier releases. Developer Dreams Incorporated taps into this space while adding their own time-bending twist in Cris Tales. The approach is challenging, but the tools provided to deal with each obstacle act as a discovery no matter how familiar you are with the genre. Cris Tales introduces us to an orphan named Crisbel, who gets wrapped up into a massive adventure after following a frog named Matthias who stole a rose. Evidently, it is her fate to become a powerful time mage and help the people of this world by making changes to the present and past that affect the future. Her calling has her traveling to 4 regions to collect her powers, leading her to a kingdom known as Crystalis. She's accompanied by a ragtag group of characters, each with their own reasons for joining the group. These characters have their own opinions on how they want to approach situations, which eventually leaves Crisbel to decide the correct path. Eventually, you'll face off against the Time Empress, but a lot happens between all that. Every choice made in the game affects the outcome of the future, and it's not always a bright one. It all depends on your dedication to exploration and addressing the needs of the citizens. While these are side missions that run alongside the main quest, they are needed if you want the best outcome for the people. Of course, it's completely possible to pass it all up. You can easily just run by a man getting attacked by wolves, but be prepared to hear that he died later on. The big gimmick here is that the 3 different timelines are shown on screen while you're in a town. The left screen shows the past, and the right screen shows the future. This allows you to easily see if you're doing the right thing, but that's not always easy to do. What is right and wrong is ultimately up to the player, but you'll have to live with the consequences from both angles. Matthias also has the ability to travel into each timeline to collect items, listen in on conversations, or uncover a secret. It plays out like a puzzle as nothing is explicitly told to the player outside of a few hints. It's simply incredible how the developers created 3 different versions of the town that are shown at all times. I think the only drawback is that it's sometimes tough to see everything. The designers often use this limited camera angle to hide treasures, but I think it hurts navigation in dungeons since you aren't always sure where to go. Still, anything you do is typically rewarded with a treasure chest or item, so time never feels wasted. It's important to note that the team gets the most out of every town. I spent 7 hours completing quests, level grinding, and talking with NPCs in the first town, which included only 2 dungeons. However, when I noticed how much time had passed, it honestly felt like I was only playing for an hour. I became lost in the game's fantasies, setting, and characters as I invested more time into the adventure. Nothing ever feels like it's handed to the player, and every completed mission feels earned. However, I wouldn't say I liked how I had to wait for Matthias to catch up to me in towns to change to different times, because he can be a bit slow. The time system finds its way into the battle system where enemies will surround the party on the left or the right. Most grunt enemies have 3 different forms depending on their age, which gives them access to a different moveset. Crisbel can make them younger if they're on the left, and if they're on the right she can make them older. Sometimes there are drawbacks to this, such as making an enemy older only to find out that they become stronger, while others become weaker. It requires experimentation, but also a good understanding of your moveset. It's imperative that you understand how to properly time follow-up attacks and defense that require you to press the action button right before an attack. This is great for adding status effects and crits to magic or avoiding an enemy attack. Bosses are where this is needed the most because they don't mess around. Even for a typical fight, the challenge is high, but the reward of the experience and the money is crucial to becoming stronger. I had such a good time level grinding and learning new moves for my party, and then working out a strategy for them to use effectively in a battle. One drawback for the Switch version is that the load times before and after battles and also in between areas are extremely lengthy, making the adventure only longer than it should be. I should stress that I do hope this is optimized in a future patch. The equipment takes a rather straightforward approach, allowing players to upgrade their weapons with money and even equip special keychains for added effects. Wearable equipment can be purchased or found in the field and have various attributes, some of which may slow the character down in a fight, but most of them have a positive effect. Crisbel's time magic also evolves through the dungeons that each have a unique gimmick, requiring her to interact with something to progress. She unlocks new abilities and even new ways to travel through the world as she visits more regions. I loved how the game took the genre's classic challenge and added so many unique systems. Unfortunately for some, there aren't difficulty options or speed options. Further, there's no autosave, so I'll admit I lost an hour after getting cocky and not saving. I couldn't care less though, since I was having a blast with the entire game loop. All dialogue is voiced and sounds wonderful, further enhanced by the awesome soundtrack and beautiful environments. Cris Tales is a fantasy akin to a fairy tale in both narrative and setting. It's an amazing experience accompanied by memorable characters, an addictive battle system, and wonderful discoveries. Every moment of gameplay pushes the RPG to new heights, which is only hindered by lengthy load times and lack of direction for some missions. However, if you're looking for a callback to retro RPGs, this is one game you should absolutely play. Noisy Pixel is giving Cris Tales a 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review at noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
Noisy Pixel.